Shet, and I'm back with another elemental year ahead reading for the month of November. If you remember from my last video, I pull 4 cards, one for each element, earth, air, fire, and water, the western elements. And I do this, I pull 4 cards for every month of the year, and I do this as my elemental year ahead spread. And it's a lot of cards, but I use 4 different decks. And last month I decided I wanted to kind of like chat about the cards I got, and I will continue to do so every month until I no longer feel like it. It's just, I guess, to give a snapshot of kind of the spiritual aspect of how I use my cards on a regular basis, my tarot and oracle decks, for myself, for self-improvement and self-awareness, and also to give those of you who are customers or potential customers a look at how you can use that reading that I offer in the description down below. So, like last month, I'll start off with the cards I had pulled for the October moon cycle, and then give you a preview of the November moon cycle's cards. So for the element of air, using the Toth Tarot, I have the Magus, and with this deck, there we go. With this deck, you actually get 3 different types of the Magus, and I believe it's like Greek, Egyptian, and maybe, I don't remember, maybe Roman. I don't remember exactly what the third one is. But next, for the element of fire, I pulled the 5 of Swords from my Deviant Moon Tarot deck. For the element of water, I pulled the Chariot, or as the Llewellyn deck calls it, Manawydan. I'm probably completely mispronouncing that because I don't speak Welsh, and the Llewellyn Tarot is based on Welsh mythology, or at least the major arcana cards are. And last but not least, for my oracle deck, the Fairies Oracle, I got the Pook for the element of earth. So my month, this past 29-30 days, has been pretty good. I did a lot this month, and I'm quite proud of it. This is a decent month, a very mindful month. I was awake and aware, which is something that was not the case, let's say, a year ago, so 12 months ago. So I'm mostly happy with how this month went. I'm trying to think of like big things that happened this month. Mostly, like, my favorites videos are a good barometer for major events that happen in my life. So do check out my October favorites video if you might get a little more detail about what I'm talking about there. But Witchathon was a big thing, the readathon that I just kind of jumped in, and like I mentioned in my favorites video, I absolutely adore reading. It is my favorite pastime, hobby, and it is Definitely the biggest addiction I have, reading. Um, so there's that, to be able to join in something that's also in the witchy kind of thing, was nice, because it's kind of two worlds joining together that have not, for me, in a long time. The whole book diehard reader community and being a witch. So there's that. Um, I didn't really go anywhere or do much. I got lots of orders from Etsy. It's that time of year, and they're starting to come in, to the point where I struggle and I wonder, why am I doing this to myself? But it's okay, because this is what I want. I want to be successful, and success in my Etsy shop means lots of orders. So, which means more work, which means more money, which means success, and the circle continues. So I'm happy with that. Um, my birthday was during this last moon cycle. It wasn't a extravaganza or anything like that, but it was nice. I did with a little help from Witchathon, some connection with my spirit guides. The book Faces of Your Soul is one of the books I read for Witchathon, and I loved it. One of the sections was to become one with your spirit animal or animals. I did 3 because I have 3 that are animals, or 3 spirit guides that are animals, and it was kind of like, there's one exercise where you see the world through their eyes, and another where they see the world through yours, and I did both, and that was it was just great. A third exercise was kind of like painting yourself, which, one of the reasons I like Halloween, as opposed to Samhain or Kalangive or the Day of the Dead, though each have parts of that, is I like the idea of dressing up and being someone else. Halloween, at least in the modern world, is really the only day where it's like truly acceptable. There are events that happen, but then you're like stuck in a niche for those events. So like Comic-Con or something, you want to dress up as a comic book character, or for an anime convention, you want to dress up as an anime character, and that's nice. I am a fan of both, but just being whoever, whatever, is always interesting and fun. Just putting on a mask, whether it's a literal mask or painting yourself or just new clothes, is always interesting. It's showing a new side of yourself, in my opinion. And so I went out and about as my spirit animals, because it felt appropriate, and I used makeup rather than just masks, but there is a section of Faces of Your Soul where you can create masks, and I might do that in the future. But that was an amazing experience, and I don't know, I feel like me and my spirit guides are here now because of it. So I'm very thankful for that. And I'm trying to think what I did in the earlier part of October. Not a lot, I don't think. And that's why I'm just like, huh. I was very focused on working, putting out orders, and keeping up with my blog posts and the YouTube videos. So yeah, that was my October. So my air card, air representing the mental space, my thoughts, and how was my mental health and that kind of thing. The Magus is an interesting card to get, and I am not 100% like comfortable and all knowing of the Thoth Tarot deck. And it's usually like you're kind of mastering and juggling a lot of things, and maybe, I mean, dude is naked, so maybe comfortable with just feeling in the zone, comfortable with what my mental capabilities are and how they make me feel, and what I can deal with. And that was definitely this month. I felt like I could handle what my own brain dishes out. And again, comparing to like maybe a year ago, not so much. I had some bad moments, but they weren't the end of the world, and I've gotten better at dealing with, negative thoughts and maybe even overly positive thoughts. So there's that. So yeah, the Magus being a major arcana kind of implies that was a big deal, and I agree, it was. Just being content and comfortable in my mental space is a big deal, and I'm kind of really happy with that. Also, communication wise as well, not holding back for fear of disappointing others, and making my wants and needs known, and not having the negative backlash that I expected was definitely good for me in the future. So next I have fire. This Five of Swords, man. So fire is like my passion, creativity, power, and career, imagination. Oh boy, Five of Swords kind of, this guy is like, he's taking other people's swords from the battlefield and sticking his tongue out. And to me, that says like, I was all about me. I didn't care about others. Like, it was just, my focus, like I said, was really on work, making those orders, getting them out, being transparently me, getting my ideas down, creating my blog posts and YouTube videos, and just kind of like more going with my gut than I have in a while, going with that instinct, and of course working with my spirit guides, that spirit energy sprinkled on to top it all off. And this card just kind of says to me, like, you know what, I needed all these swords and I took them, and I wasn't really like worried about what others were doing or thinking or what they would say. I was just like in my zone, being unapologetically me, which is a little bit silly. And occasionally childish, and that's okay. Very funny. So, swords are air, so it's definitely more like the thought, the creation process, the imagination, the spirit, and creation was definitely a thing. I wasn't stealing from others. I was just doing me. And if it might be a little over the top because you can't fight with 5 swords in your hand. That's ridiculous. But maybe I'll have more swords held back in case I lose one in the future or whatever have you. I'm trying to think of how to word this. Just, back up for later. And there might have been a little taking on of too much. But you live and you learn. Particularly for me, towards the end of the cycle, as we were in, as the moon was waning towards the dark moon, this first week of November, not in November, but a couple of months ago, I decided to take on the challenge of NaPoMo, National Blog Posting Month, which means in November I'm posting a blog post every day for November. And I had prepped, I made a list of topics, and I had the first week of posts ready to publish, but after that I kind of fell off a little bit. So but that's okay. You're still getting those 30 blog posts. So if you're interested, find my blog link in the description down below. Water. And I got the Chariot. Come on. There you go. Mana Widen, I don't know. Guys, again, don't speak Welsh. And this chariot dude is riding the waves of the ocean, which are as powerful as 2 charging horses, and he's just steady and sure. Water representing that emotional area of life, also the unknown, to be the shadow stuff, the subconscious or unconscious. And really quickly, I just want to give you guys an idea of the story of Mana Widen, who is the Chariot here. Mana Widen, son of Lear meaning sea, was brother of Bran the Blessed and Branwen. By marrying the widowed Rhiannon, he became a patient stepfather to Pryderi, and he is one of the most admirable evolved temperaments in Welsh mythology. Mana Widen is seen as a seasoned warrior, skilled and capable with the wisdom and patience to triumph over the slippery opponents of the otherworld. He is unusually humble in a heroic society where boasting is the fashion. And his understanding and respect for women... Wait, where did I go? What further sets him apart? Sorry. We know he is a disinherited prince, but we do not know why. While the surviving Welsh material makes no mention of him in the role of a sea god, it is a long-standing consensus that he is the Welsh equivalent of the Irish Manannán mac Lir, Tradition names his self-propelled boat Wave Sweeper. He was said to be a glorious sight driving his chariot across the waves, as if the sea were a plain of flowers. The sea god is also associated with the Isle of Man as its first king and guardian. Even today, a bank of sea mist is referred to as Manannan's Vale by islanders. While time and likely censoring Christian scribes have stripped Manawydan of his former divine glory, the character seen in the Mabinogion is still the far-seeing honorable survivor, Manawydan of proud counsel. And traditionally, the Chariot as a major arcana card, is all about balance and steadiness and kind of leading in battle and strength. And again, like I said, steadiness. Someone who you can depend on. And yeah. When I had pulled this card, when I looked at this card, I should say, not when I pulled it, I was like, wow. This card and this deck and the Llewellyn deck, more so than the traditional Rider-Waite Chariot card, is like something to live up to. He is honorable and trustworthy and strong and supportive and just, like I said, just riding the waves of the sea as if it were a field of flowers. And I would like that to meet me. I love water. Riding the waves of my emotions as if they were a sea of flower. Emotional stability was definitely a high point for this month. I wasn't on this roller coaster of extreme highs and lows, so no really deep depressive moments or high anxiety moments, and no feeling like I couldn't deal with life. And again, thanks to reading Faces of Your Soul, doing the work and the prep work beforehand to work with my spirit guides, I got to know myself a little bit better, incorporating more of that shadow aspect, those things that I think are not so great about me and maybe in the past kind of wanted to push aside. So good things. And lastly, for Earth, again, the Pook. So that is, as always, from the the Fairies Oracle. And it's a oracle deck rather than a tarot deck. And Earth representing Mother Earth, finances, my physical body, physical space, just the physical aspects of life. While I felt pretty grounded in reality thanks to the Chariot and the Five of Swords and the Magus, I was also kind of physically is where I not do so well in life. And I don't know, the Pook is a cutie, but he doesn't always stay as such. The book says that he's a shape changer, and I've had him before. For some reason this month it just felt less clear on how he applied to the situation. So the Pook, shape changer, good and bad, bad and good, paradox, resolution. Someone or some part of the situation is cloaked in confusion, and our muddled thoughts must be stripped away, revealing the truth. Alternatively, it may be time for us to make a reality check on the good and bad labels that we put on things. And I mean, it's definitely how I feel about the card, but I don't know how that feels. He appears in whatever guise he thinks will be most confusing to you. Our paradoxes and confusions are self-created, and Pook need only dress them up a bit, add a little sparkle, and dangle them before us in order to induce confusion. In that confusion, we are likely to believe almost anything someone presents to us, just to feel as if we have a metaphorical anchor in reality. His challenge for us is to wake up, to stop projecting our confusions on reality. Once we have seen the truth, seeming contradictions and paradoxes melt away. I think the Pook was like a focal point for the rest of the cards for me to understand them and just the way my life has gone or have gotten in the past or because of the past, and just to point out, you know, some of those things that I was being ridiculous on. Things like certain jobs and whether or not I should apply for them because I'm already doing this. And I had this idea of, well, I can't apply for this kind of job because if I get it, then I can't do the job that I'm currently doing. And so it's just like, well, I have to find something that I know as soon as I hear about it or read about it is going to fit the schedule that I already have. Or the one thing I've been carrying around almost since the beginning, since I've created Scarlet Moon Creations business, is, oh, I need to get a real job because I need more money now, but if I do, I won't have time to take care of Scarlet Moon Creations, which needs more capital to get to the next level. So, not realizing, I just kind of been thinking about that a lot and going back and forth, and it's just like, that's ridiculous. You just go with it because you know or you don't know what's gonna happen. What in other areas, you know, the universe. This is funny because Jessica the Story, which is a recent video on the universe, but the universe does its best for you when you do your best for yourself, of course, but the universe does its best for you, and why wouldn't it do the same in this area of your life? Like, why should that change? So yeah, thinking I can't act on certain things before I do this or that first, it kind of harkens back to the Five of Swords, and the Magus to an extent. Like, I just was like, well, I'm gonna go with what I'm feeling, like what I feel like doing right now. All of it's just as important, and if I go with the feeling and pick up what is interesting to me now, then it'll be done when I need it later. I don't know if that makes sense, but yeah. So that was my cards for the October moon cycle. Now my cards coming up, I'll show you really quickly. For the November moon cycle that's just started, I've got for air the Prince of Wands. Then for fire, the King of Pentacles. Not a guy that shows up in my personal readings very often, so that's interesting in a good way. The Fool for the element of earth, and I'm kind of like really happy and the element of water, I got the Fool, and I'm really happy and excited about this particular card, like super. And oh, that gnome for the element of earth. And yeah, so I will be back next month with my next video and an in-depth reading on these cards and a preview for December's cards. I'm currently prepping to do my elemental year ahead reading for 2019. I'm going to do it probably the December new moon. So I'll be able to continue these videos next year. Thank you guys for watching. See you next time. Bye.